Hey everyone, I'm coming to you from a snowy Rocky Glen amusement park. The reason we're here today is to answer a single question. Now before we answer that, I just want to make note that over the past several years I've actually filmed lots of videos here. Most notably the annual tour that happens every November. If you wish to check out any of those videos, you could click on this button that's popping up on the screen right now. That'll bring up my Rocky Glen playlist and all the videos are listed there. But there is one question that does keep getting asked, and it's something that's not shown on the tour, and that is, what's behind Rocky Glen Lake? And today we're going to answer that question. So right now I'm standing in the lower parking lot. This is where the annual tour normally starts, and we're going to make our way past the dam back there and back towards the beach area. And it's going to be a long hike. It's going to take probably about 2 hours round trip to get back here. So we're going to get moving, and I'll catch up with you closer to the lake. Alright, right now we're near the dam, and as you can see it's flowing pretty good. We've had a lot of rain recently. You can see the snowfall, so the water level is higher than normal, and it's actually the most I've seen that flowing in a long time. So I'm going to give you a closer look at that. And as you can see, the water is pretty high. Alright, right now we're at the beach area, and as you can hear, we got some geese behind me in the lake. Right over here is where the slides were in the pool and the clubhouse, and right beyond there is where our path to get to the back of the lake begins. As you know, this is a pretty large lake. I'm going to put up a aerial map right now showing, roughly the size of it, and I'm going to circle the area that we're headed towards. It's going to be the very rear portion of the lake where the stream is feeding into the lake, and that's where we're headed right now. So I'm going to get started right now because I do have a long walk ahead of me. Those geese are loud, but if I see anything interesting along the way I'll point it out. But I'm going to get started, and I'll see you guys back there. Okay, here's the pool area. The slides and clubhouse are over here, and straight through there is where we're headed. Now if you guys do decide to take this trek, I strongly urge wear proper footwear. It is kind of uneven, it's rocky, there's tree stumps, there's roots, there's a lot of things you could trip over and get hurt on. On top of that, there could be snakes back here. Not typically this time of year, but if you come in the summer. But there is a path, believe it or not, that does wrap around, and we're gonna get moving. Now as you can see, this does pretty much go right alongside the lake. So if you're looking for some different fishing spots, I suggest you take this path because it'll lead you to some new ground. And as you can see, it's not the easiest path to walk on, especially in the snow. It is hilly, rocky, bumpy, but it's worth the trek. So just want to give you an idea of what we're dealing with here. Now there is one more thing I wanted to point out, and this was an unexpected surprise, but a lot of you have asked about the dock, the floating dock specifically, and here it is. So as you can see, it still does exist. It's pretty much sunken now. It used to have styrofoam underneath it to keep it up. Now it's just resting on the bottom, but it is still here. Right now we're about halfway around the lake. We're headed off in that direction. And directly across from us is where the Laurel Line trolley would have ran, right on that hillside there. And that's actually where we will be making our return trip, right along that path. One thing I want to point out really quick is right up on top of this ridge line is Interstate 81. You can actually see tractor trailers passing by if you look in this direction. So that is how close the highway was built next to Rocky Glen Lake. Alright, as I'm making my way back, we came across this little, I guess you would call it a campsite. Somebody brought some benches here and have an area for a fire. It's a nice spot though. It's a nice little clearing here for the lake. And unfortunately there's some garbage in the water there. The only thing I ever ask is if you ever come here to visit, just be respectful and pick up after yourself. No reason to litter or graffiti anything or do anything in a negative way. Just be respectful of the land. That way others like myself can come here and enjoy it. You can see they got firewood here too. Alright, I'm going to continue forward. Okay, we are nearing the back portion of the lake now. We're about 3/4 of the way there. And I want to point out, you can see one of the hotels up there. That's up near, I believe up near Cinemark, that is. That is, what's the name of that? I can't read it. Marriott, I think. So if you stay in one of those rooms, you'll have a good view of the lake. Alright, looks like we came upon another campsite here. We got something hanging from a stick there. Probably for like a makeshift tent, maybe. And what's this? It's like Gumby, I think. Yeah. Jamaican Gumby. And there's another fireplace. Somebody's got some supplies here or something. There was a umbrella. I don't know what they had in here. Like maybe some fire material. And as you can see, there are tracks coming here, so this was used probably relatively recently. Or maybe somebody was just coming to check it out, but there are numerous campsites around here, even on the other side too. I'm sure we'll encounter a few of them. So, now that we're back here too, we're pretty close. I want to point out that if anyone's ever wondering where the large fish are, they're back here. Back in this part of the lake is much shallower and full of tree stumps. As you know, this is a man-made lake, and they basically had to cut pretty much the stuff you would see here to make this lake. So The bottom quarter portion of it is full of tree stumps. It is very shallow, and back here is where you'll find large and smallmouth bass, pickerel, sunnies, bluegills. I've even seen catfish here. And at one point years ago, my brother and myself had a fishing boat in here, and we came back in this area, and it's much more better fishing grounds just because it's more protected back here. Not many people make it back this way. And if we get a closer look, I'll try and show you the stumps, but the water level is higher right now after all the rain and snow. But you can kind of get an idea of what it will look like. Okay, now that we're here, this is the farthest back you could go into the lake in a boat or otherwise. You can see there's plenty of tree stumps sticking out. These are the higher ones. Underneath the water level, there's many more stumps. It's almost like a whole maze of stumps. You can barely navigate a boat unless you keep a good eye in front of you, or you come at this time when the water is much higher. But this is typically what the ground back here looks like. It's maybe 3-4 feet deep max, probably shallower than that. And what it does, it turns into almost like a swamp marsh area. And we're going to go behind there and show how this lake gets fed. Okay, what you're looking at right here is called Stafford Meadowbrook, and this is what feeds Rocky Glen Lake. And if you follow this on Google Maps, this actually leads down from the number 5 dam, which is the reservoir at the base of Montage Mountain. That's the same reservoir they use to make the snow with their snow guns. But there's a dam up there as well that goes down, actually goes underneath the Electric City Trolley Museum, the trolley that goes along that route. This little stream passes underneath that, makes its way down kind of in the valley in between Shops at Montage and 81, and ends up here. And this is what feeds Rocky Glen Lake. Believe it or not, this is very clear, clean, fresh water. Obviously it could be contaminated with, you know, animal feces or dead animals, but for the most part it is clean water. And this lake is I personally think one of the safest lakes to swim in. Although it is littered around the shores, once you get away from that, the water is crystal clear, it's warm. I've never had any type of health issues. I've swam underwater, I've snorkeled the lake, I filmed underneath it. And I would rather swim in this lake rather than Harvey's Lake or Lake Wallenpaupack or anything else. So, despite what people believe, I could attest I've been swimming in this lake for years, well over a decade, and I've never had any issues with it. But I'm going to give you a little bit closer look at it, and then right up here, a little bit upstream, there's something pretty cool I want to show you. So, hang on tight. And just to show you that water is pretty crystal clear. One thing I would like to point out is this timber right here and that one. Those are actually railroad ties. Another one right there too. The reason they're here is because right on this ridge line is where the laurel line tracks used to be. So it's very close to part of the stream here, and when they removed the tracks, it basically just threw the ties on either side. And some of them made their way down to here. Now, I'm not going to show it yet, but just up ahead there's something really neat I want to show you, so I'm going to get a closer look and I'll show you what that is. Now, hopefully you can see this in the camera. This is a stone bridge. It serves two purposes. One is on top of that ridge line is where the tracks were for the laurel line, and also allow the stream to flow through it. Now, a long time ago, probably 12-15 years ago, I walked through that. The water was much lower, and obviously it was very warm out in the summer, and I actually walked through it to the other side. And it's pretty neat. It's very well made. It's very much intact, and if it wasn't for that, this stream wouldn't make it into Rocky Glen Lake. I'm going to give you a closer look at it here. See all the way through. Alright, I'm going to get up a little bit closer to it along the side of it, and I'll show you what it looks like from there. Okay, I'm on the other side of it now. This is the stream that's flowing into it. Okay, right now I'm standing on top of the bridge that I just showed you. The stream is running right underneath me this way. And this right here, what looks to be like an ATV trail, is actually the former rail bed of the Laurel Line trolley service. Going this direction would have went towards Pittston and Wilkes-Barre. This will lead you past Montage area going towards downtown Scranton. And this is the exact path it rode on to bring passengers to and from Rocky Glen. Okay, right now I'm walking on the rail bed. We're heading towards the front of the park, which would be towards Pittston, heading south. And just to show you, there are some remnants back here of when the trolley was in service. Not only are there numerous rail ties everywhere, but there's items like this right here. That's a concrete post which held a marker to let them know if traffic was okay to go ahead or not, almost like the lantern signal, the red and green signal. So there's various points of those along here as well as other things too. But right now it's just used as a ATV trail, and following this straight out the way we're heading, it's going to lead us right to the separation in the lake and the dam, the outlet area. So when we get up closer, I'll show you what's up there. Alright, we're still making our way along the rail bed here. Off to my left is where the rear part of the lake is starting to come into picture. So we're going to be coming up on what is known as Lover's Island. It's mostly a campsite now, but it was the area where the train ride that went under the $1 Million Coaster used to make its return trip. There was a loop there, and that's an area that we're going to highlight too. So I'm going to keep moving. Oh, we got someone coming. quiet.
Hopefully you see something.
I thought I would too, but all I see is snow falling from the trees. Keeps making me sound like it's something walking behind me, but other than that, there's nothing. That was actually a local resident to music in the Rocky Glen area, and he stopped to chat with me a bit. I actually know him from since I was a young boy, and it just goes to show that people still come here and enjoy the park well after it's been closed. But it's still a nice area to walk, to hike, to photograph, to ride ATVs, as long as you do it responsibly. You know, you don't want to come here tearing up the land, littering. You know, probably shouldn't be burning fires either, but doing what I'm doing is perfectly safe and responsible. So all right, let's keep moving. All right, another thing I wanted to point out too before we get too far ahead is on that upper ridge line there's a set of railroad tracks. I forget which line that belongs to, but they are the ones that go over Montage Mountain Road. If you follow it down this way, it goes over that steel bridge that crosses over 502 right near the Turnpike Bridge and the entrance for Rocky Glen Road. So just to give you a reference, there's tracks up there. They go past into Lower Music by the Music Raiders Field and continue on towards Avoca that way. But they haven't been used in decades. I don't know which line they were for or the last time they were ever in service, but I believe that's the same line that they're trying to basically get back in service to have transport from here to, I want to say it's New York or New Jersey, I forget what it's called, but they want to try and repurpose and reuse that part of that line to have passenger service going back and forth. So, all right, so once again, let's keep moving forward. All right, I just wanted to show another camping spot here, although there's nothing really set up, but you can tell there's a fire here. It's built up, ATV tracks, and right along that shoreline is where I was walking to get to the back of the lake. So as you can see, it's quite a distance to go all the way around. Up there you could kind of see windows glistening. That's 81 with cars going by, and right there is the back of the lake again. That's right where it ends. So probably another couple hundred yards up ahead will be the Lover's Island. So I'll meet up with you over there. Alright, right now we're coming upon what is known locally as Lover's Island. As you can see, there's like a little formation of rocks here, and some of them are stacked up on each other, and this path here loops right around. I believe this was the path for the train ride that would take Rocky Glen guests alongside the $1 Million coaster that went alongside the lake here and return them to the shoreline over there, but it did make a loop over here somewhere. This is actually an area that not only myself, but the moderator of Rocky Glen Memories Facebook group, his name's Andrew, we're going to be returning here to dig into this a little bit more and find out exactly where the train tracks were and if there's any other remnants here. But there are a few remnants of the $1 Million coaster along the shoreline here, so I'll show you those. Yeah, you can see this is like, I don't know if this is man-made or not. I'm assuming it is, but I don't know if this is from the park era or was made afterwards, but it looked like they maybe would have had something in the middle, maybe water or signs or something for when the train looped around. Something I believe similar to how Knoebels has their train ride going through the woods. It makes a loop in the woods and they have the squirrel feeders and stuff like that. This may have been something similar, I'm not sure. If any of you know, feel free to leave a comment, but definitely looks like it was man-made, something from the park era when it was operating. And this does look like the loop where the train looped around. Now, if you're wondering why they call it Lover's Island, like I said, Andrew, he's the moderator of Rocky Glen Park Memories Facebook group. I'll leave a link to that down below if you want to join it. He nicknamed it basically for the reason because this was a far, dark corner of the park where guests, more specifically teens and young couples, could have a chance to sneak a kiss, just because it's away from the public area. It's dark and wooded over here, and it's a little more covered, similar to how a dark ride would have been. So that's how they got the nickname of Lover's Island. There's something here. I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is some sort of animal trap, or if it's something from a ride. I just happen to see it here. I don't want to touch it in case it's a trap, but I don't know what that is. You can see there's a lot of these concrete blocks here. These were anchor points for the coaster that held up the structure. You can see there's some metal coming out of it here. You got a nice view of the lake here. Alright, now I'm going to zoom in, but off in the distance there, it looks like steps going up. And what that is, it's actually the seating levels from when the Red Barn was there. Red Barn was a stage where they had musical acts play there. The Rocky Glen band, as well as other various acts that played on that stage. And that was actually seating levels facing the stage. The stage was facing that hill. The seats were facing the lake. You can still see where we're at. Right in the middle, the bottom center of the screen, that's where the stage was. That's the foundation of it. And those are all steps and seating area levels that are going up above it. So we got some people down here today. Okay, I'm actually going to walk with the camera right now, but I want to highlight a few things here. You can see you got some anchor points. We got another one right here. And most notably, we have this huge concrete anchor here with not only wood but metal coming out of it. And this was used to hold up the loop around section of the $1 Million Coaster. The coaster would have rode straight along the shoreline here, partially out over the water, and the train ride went alongside that as well. You can see this is a massive slab of concrete, and the wood's still on there from when the coaster was here. This is something that we've talked about on the tours, but we've always seen it from the other side of the lake. So this is a close-up look at it. Alright, here's a closer look at it. And all along the shoreline here, you probably can't see, but in the water there is another big slab of concrete that's submerged, and there's various sizes of concrete slabs all along the shoreline, all the way to the other side. And that's what held up the dock for the train ride and parts of the coaster. Okay, so that's a look at Lover's Island. If we were to continue straight along the Laurel line, it brings you to that gap in between the outlet and the lake, and unfortunately you can't cross there. So I'm going to be forced to backtrack a little bit and head up on that ridge line there where the rail bed is. So I'm going to get up there, I'll give you guys a quick look, and I'm going to wrap up the video. Okay, right here we have another very impressive item back here, and this is a much larger, taller and longer bridge. And this one is to support the rail line up there. As I mentioned earlier, it's not for the Laurel line, is for the actual freight trains that used to use this. And speaking of which, you can hear a train in the background now. But this water coming out, I believe, this is coming from the Glenwood Lake. And that's located on the grounds now of Glenwood Golf Course. I've walked through this one as well. It kind of goes in straight and angles to the right. So it's almost like a V shape in there. And it's a pretty neat structure. And you can see it's slowly starting to crack and crumble a little bit, but it's still in pretty much good shape though. Looks like one or two slabs may have fallen on the ground from the top, but somebody may have pushed those off as well. That's another nice peaceful area here with the stream. You got some nice trees going over it, and the creek just kind of runs through it here. But if I'm not mistaken, this does come from Glenwood Lake. I'm going to see if I can get us a little bit closer shot of it, and then I got to make my way up on top. Alright, hopefully you can hear me with the wind and the water, but as you can see, there is some daylight on the other side because it does angle around, so I'm standing at the right angle to see through there, but you can see it's pretty impressive. This, as well as the other one that's back by the Loreline Bridge, by the other creek. I never knew these were here until about 15, 16 years ago when I just decided to walk around the lake and discover them. And like I said, it's a nice peaceful area. It kind of just winds its way through and makes its way. This feeds into the outlet part of the lake, I believe. And the outlet is obviously connected to the lake, so it's all one body of water and drains out down through the dam. Alright, I'm going to try and make my way up top. I'm going to see if I can keep you with me and you get a sense of what I had to go through today to try and get these shots. You can see there's a lot of deer tracks, probably raccoons and other things here. Oh, almost went down. Okay. Alright, as you see, there is the rail line here. I am standing on top of the bridge now. And that's where I just was, right down there. Okay, I may have misinformed you. I may be mistaken. This is the other side of the bridge here. This is not Glenwood Lake. That is up farther that way, right in the middle of the golf course. This is, I don't know if there's a name to this. It's just like a small body of water, like a pond. But that's where this water is coming from. So I'm gonna head down and get a little closer look at the other side of this bridge here. Okay, I gotta say, this is a nice little area here. Nice little pool of water here. And here's the backside of the bridge and tunnel. Maybe in the summer we'll return here and I'll take you guys with me as I walk through it and the other one. It's a pretty neat experience. Just have to basically wear some water shoes, and it's only about knee deep at most. And again, I'm not sure what body of water this is. I'm going to look it up on Google Maps, and I'll highlight it on the maps and show you right now. If there's a name to it, you'll see it. If not, maybe you can inform me in the comment section. But this is the outskirts of the golf course. I know the golf course is up over there, and we'll see a better look at it when we get closer. So I guess you learn something new every day. Here's one more look at it. You can smell like a damp, like musty odor over here too. Just probably from the water sitting in the tunnel there, but it's a very neat structure, I tell you that. I don't know how old it is, but I can imagine it's been here a long time. You can even see a tree was kind of growing out of it at one point. Alright, I'm going to get back up on top and finish this up. Alright, we're walking along the rail bed now. Going this direction will take you to Montage Mountain Road. You just go straight across the road and continue alongside the mountain along number 5 Nam and actually go all the way towards River Street in Scranton there, right along the exit. The tracks have been removed from that point forward. Again, if you know what these tracks are used for, or I should say which train company they were used for, let me know in the comment section. These have been abandoned a long time. See, the trees are growing right in between the rails. But like I said, if I'm not mistaken, they want to repurpose this for a passenger service, I believe, to New Jersey. Okay, here's a good look right here. You can see that stream that we just showed that's coming from that body of water, goes underneath that tunnel, that snakes its way through. Lake's right there, and this leads right to the back of the outlet. So again, it's fed in 2 areas, but connects as one body of water. Alright, as you can tell, I'm on the back side of the outlet now. Right there is that little channel I was talking about. That is what connects the lake to the outlet. And there used to be like a little bridge that went over there for the Laurel line to be able to cross through it. And again, right along here is where the $1 Million Coaster would have went. And that's where the rail lines would have been also. So they're very close in proximity to each other. And if we're looking straight across, that's where the dance hall was. And the beach is over there. Now, coming up on the right hand side, I'll show you when I get closer, but it's where the rope swing used to be. That was a popular swimming area back in the probably 70s, 80s, even in the 90s. When I was a high school student, there was I know people used to come here and party on the weekends and swim and swing from the rope. Okay, so right down here is where the rope swing would have been. Somewhere down here there's a tree laying in the water, and that's where the rope was attached to. The tree's now down, laying down in the water. This is another popular camping area, swimming area. Dam's right there. And what I was mentioning before, this is Glenmore National Golf Course. There's a chain link fence right here separating the property, but these are mounds here for the part of the golf course. And there's actually rumored at one point that Glenmore purchased Rocky Glen, and that's incorrect. You can see there's a clear boundary where the golf course is and where the park is. It was on Wikipedia. I gotta tell you, this wind is relentless. It was on Wikipedia that Glenmore purchased Rocky Glen, but as you know, Wikipedia is not 100% fact. Anyone could basically go on there and edit any topic on there, and that's how the rumor got started that Glenmore purchased it, but it's been confirmed that it's not. There's a clear separation of properties, and they're on the other side of this rail bed. So just to clear that up in case people were still wondering, Rocky Glen is still Rocky Glen, and nothing has been touched or purchased from it in a long time, except for the owners out of New Jersey that own it. But there's no modifications been to the property, and nothing's been done with it for now. So, all right, one more thing before we go. I'm going to share this beautiful waterfall with you. So I'm going to set the camera down, and I'll let you enjoy it for a few minutes. Alright everyone, that's where the video is going to end today. I'm right now standing in the area of where the mountain dips coaster used to be. To my left is the waterfall. You can probably hear it in the distance. And up behind me is going to be approaching the lower parking lot. Now, if you made it this far, you probably know this video has been a long video. There's just been so much to see and show you guys. I initially stated it was going to take about 2 hours. It's actually closer to 3 hours now. That's just because I stopped at a lot of places to show you everything, to explain some things. And I took some photographs that I'm going to share with you on the Facebook page. I'm going to be packing up now and headed back to the car, but all I ask is if you guys enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up. That lets me know that you enjoy the content that I'm putting out and that you like these types of videos. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, do that now. And you can also follow me on Facebook under JPVideos. I do belong to the Rocky Glen Memories Facebook group. That's a fantastic group. I forget the amount of members, but it's a very large amount of members. Most of the people there grew up at this park. They are either employees or they went here as young kids or their family members worked here. And there's a lot of great stories, videos, photographs, everything that you would want to know about this park can be found there. The moderator is, his name's Andrew. He runs the group. Very knowledgeable person. He leads the tours here every November. If you haven't been on one of those tours, I suggest you come out to the next one coming up this November. He shares photographs of what used to be in certain areas of the park. He's done extensive research, and he's a great guy to have running this group because he has took the time and the effort to research and find out a lot of questions and answers to certain items that pertain to the park. So I'll leave links down below. You can find all the information down below in the description. Also, if you have any suggestions for future videos, not only at this park, but at other locations, leave me a suggestion down below. I'm open to it. You know, I love getting out, exploring, checking things out, researching, finding new places to go, checking out new things I've never seen before. So any suggestions, comments, anything at all, leave it down below. I'll do my best to respond. And I'll see you guys in the next video.